My brothers, the war of Overwatch has been long. Great men have died, friends have been lost, and people we once thought our allies have turned against us. These past few weeks have been tough, but through all this turmoil, all this hate, one thought has held us together. One great mantra continues to unite us all. And that is, fuck Bastion. What's going on, guys? I am finally back from E3, and that means it's time to get back to making videos, and it is time for the long-requested guide on how to eviscerate Bastion from the face of the earth. And luckily, with a few small tips, this bird-loving psychopath transforms from being your greatest nightmare to one of your easiest enemies. Now, first up, let's take a quick look at Bastion's major strengths and weaknesses. And when it comes to strengths, he really only has one, which is that he deals an absolute shitload of damage. Bastion can put out a gargantuan 525 damage per second, letting him melt even the tankiest heroes in a matter of seconds. So, long story short, if you just run straight at him, you're gonna get destroyed. Now, the weakness side of Bastion is a lot more interesting. First up, when he turns into a turret mode, he is obviously completely immobile. And shockingly, what a lot of people don't seem to realize is that when he is in turret mode, Bastion exposes this blue core at his back, which becomes his new headshot hitbox, meaning that if you shoot this, you will deal double damage. Bastion also has a huge amount of damage fall off on his main gun, meaning that while he will still deal respectable damage at long range, it is nothing like when you're up close and personal. So now we've got the strengths and weaknesses in mind, we're going to take a look at the number one counter to Bastion, and that is, of course, Genji. With Reflect, Genji can turn Bastion's massive 500 DPS around and make him kill himself instead. In fact, Bastion kills himself so fast that once you factor in ping, he'll barely be able to register that you're reflecting before he's already dead. Once in a while, though, you'll meet a smart Bastion. I know, crazy, but they do exist, trust me. And these guys will be a little bit more careful when it comes to shooting themselves in the face. But if this happens, use Genji's cyber agility to dance all over their head while spamming your right click, and at this range, it is almost impossible for them to track you properly. With a couple of right click shuriken fans, he'll be dead as well. Our second trick to taking out Bastion is gonna be to play the angles. Bastion's immobility makes him a sitting duck for almost any projectile hero, especially ones which have an arc on their attack, such as Junkrat, Hanzo, and even Torbjorn. Use the map's terrain to find an angle where you can arc your shots to hit him while protecting yourself from his attacks. Bastion's wide player model also means that with careful aim, you can shoot his sides while not being visible yourself. Certain heroes like Junkrat and Hanzo can also bounce their shots off walls to attack him from even wider angles. While lethal at close range, Bastion's damage per bullet is reduced by almost 75% at longer ranges. This, coupled with the relative spread on his bullets, makes him extremely vulnerable to attacks at long range. Heroes which have low damage fall off and solid accuracy at range are another great counter to this evil Omnic, as this is one of the few situations where Bastion will almost always lose a 1 versus 1 face-off. Our second last strategy for murdering Bastions is to sneak up like a spy. Use flank routes and your hero's mobility to try and get behind enemy Bastions, attacking from unseen angles. Once behind, you have a number of options. Firstly, you can attack the Omnic's vulnerable core to burst him down quickly, or alternatively, use close range burst damage to kill him before he realizes you're present. While this is more easily done with fast, agile heroes like Tracer, with some smart movement, almost any hero can get the jump on Bastion, even old pensioners like Reinhardt. And finally, we're gonna look at dealing with the most infamous of Bastion setups. When your enemy Bastion has a Reinhardt babysitting him, it can sometimes feel like an impossible obstacle. If you're working with your team, it's actually quite easy to blast through a 2000 HP Reinhardt shield, exposing the enemy Bastion to take down. But let's be honest, in 90% of your games, it can feel kinda like you're the only player on your team. In this case, your best bet is to go Hanzo. Once your ultimate is available, try and fire your dragon through the wall closest to the enemy, and by the time they realize what's coming, it'll already be too late. When the enemy team bunches up around a setup like this, you'll often get an easy triple kill from a single dragon. And just in general, it's often quite nice to just spitefully shoot your dragon at an enemy Bastion, even from halfway across the map, because remember people, the only good kind of Bastion is a dead Bastion.